We have to speak up on things. We can't stay silent. There's a message in our hearts, all of us. I believe if you're watching this right now, that you want to get out there to people, but you're stuck. You're scared, wondering when is the right time? How should I say it? What if I say the wrong things? What if I make mistakes? And this encompasses a lot of the things that I work with people when I coach them in my coaching business. This is one of the number one things that keeps people from making a 6 and 7 figure income is taking action and doing things courageously, because our biggest goal is not making mistakes and not getting in trouble. When we make that our biggest goal, we're always going to do things to make sure that we never make mistakes and never get in trouble, that we never look bad or make another person look bad, that we will always do just the right things that are safe. And we become scared to put our message out there. Listen, whatever's on your heart right now, whatever is inside of you, now might not be the right time for you to just send it out there to people. And then maybe you might put it out there to people and they don't resonate with it. What it is there's a process to it. And this is the part that not everybody likes to talk about, is how do you grow in that process to find your voice and to package the message that's on your heart to people. Listen, if you're selling products in a business, I know a lot of people, you either have a message on your heart or you're selling products for somebody or your own products. There's still a message that you're solving some kind of an issue in the world today that you are presenting a solution for. Listen, if you're selling health products, you're solving a problem that people have. That's your message. If you're ministering to people around fear, that's your message. Just because these are different doesn't mean that one is better than the other, by the way. So whatever's on your heart, we have to be intentional to go through the process, to grow in our confidence, and ultimately to take courageous action, to do things that we wouldn't normally do, to flow in this place. When we start to step out to do this, it can be scary. We become worried about, what are they going to think about me? Our insecurities manifest. We become fearful of, well, if I say this, what might happen? Because we're relying so much on what we know and have experienced in the past. We're grabbing onto what we've done before to try to do the thing in the future. Listen, you can't change the mistakes of the past, but you can create the future. And if you have a message in your heart, if you've tried to get a message out to people before and it didn't resonate, it didn't stick, it fell flat, fizzled out, nobody engaged, I'm here to tell you this. Some people might not see your value today. They might not resonate with what you're saying, but in the future, they will. They will recognize it, because as you stay consistent and persistent in this process, intentional to grow in, keep speaking up, keep speaking out, keep saying what's on your heart, there's two things that happen. You get better at describing it to people. You get better at communication. A lot of you, there's just a lack of confidence in your ability to communicate what's on your heart. You want to know how you grow in that area? You keep communicating. You keep doing it. You give yourself the grace to make mistakes. You give yourself the ability to do it imperfectly, to put things out there, to make a social media post, to make a video on social media, to make a blog post, to reach out to people. Whatever this is, whatever your current platform is, listen, you might not be on a stage today, and I've stood on stages and talked to people, and you know what? I'm thankful today for speaking on social media. You might not have the platform today that you know that you're called to, but you know what? You have a platform. The people in your life, the people that are your friends, they're on your phone. They might be hitting you up. They might be in your direct messages. You have people in your life, relationships that are built, and those are the people that you're leading. Listen, we can't lead people and call the greatness out in them unless we know ourselves what we're capable of. If we're insecure, we project that into all of these situations. How do we stop being insecure? Well, a couple things. We stop relying on our own strength, and I'm going to preach here for a second. It's when we are trying to do it out of ourselves and saying that God can take a back seat. We don't know who we are, and our heart isn't aligned with what God says about us and who he is. No good strategy is actually going to help you move forward if you don't know who you are and don't have confidence and belief in what you can do. And that confidence comes from, true confidence comes from identity, knowing what you were created for. And this is a core that I talk with a lot of people in my podcast, the Grow Your Life podcast. I talk with people about when we're coaching, when we're working together, is finding and identifying where are you starting at and how can we connect with the people that you're trying to reach by creating that coherence that happens. Okay? And so for you, there's a process that happens. It starts with trusting. Trust yourself more. Trust God more. Trust other people more. This is hard. If you're somebody that's like me, I'm going to tell you this. Trust has been one of the hardest things in my life. In fact, this might really tweak you a little bit, thinking about even trusting anybody. Because you're worried that, okay, the last time I trusted somebody, it didn't work out well for me. It starts with your relationship and trust with God and yourself. When we can grow in our trust with ourselves, we keep the promises that we make to ourselves to stay consistent. We wake up in the morning, we stay disciplined. We trust God. We're not relying on our own strength. This then goes into our relationship with other people. We're not projecting our lack of trust and faith in ourselves, our lack of belief in our ability onto other people and looking to them to validate that we can do what we say that we can do. Have you ever done this before? I've done this for years. Where I'm looking to other people to tell me that I'm good so I can start to trust myself. This is a pattern that is so common, where we're relying on other human beings to tell us that we're worthy of the very call that's on our life. And this is the root issue of struggling to find our voice and fear of speaking up and speaking out. And so we have to come face to face with that and start to just take a step forward and say, God, you know what? I'm going to trust you in this next step. I'm going to trust you in the step after that. I'm going to trust that every moment in my life up to this moment in time has been teaching me lessons and preparing me for the call that I was made for. That has been preparing me for this exact moment in time. We believe that success is someday off out there in the distance, and that one day we're going to be called enough to be worthy enough of what we were made for. Listen, you are called enough and worthy enough of what you were made for today, not a day off in the future. Today, right now. Now, your reality may not appear that way because you don't have the platform, because you don't have the people listening to you. Listen, your belief has to come from what God says about you and the trust and faith that you have in yourself and that connection right there. It's not based on the validation you get in other people. When we do this, then we can go out there with courage and courageously speak up and speak out on issues that we were called to talk about. Listen, we were all called to speak into different areas and on different issues. There's a lot going on in the world today. A lot of people speaking out, a lot of disagreement on a lot of topics out there, various messages. We don't even know who to listen to. Sometimes we can get confused. But there's one thing that I do know is that God is faithful throughout all of this, throughout all that's going on in the world today. And he's calling you right now to rise up, to not be afraid, to not let the fear of what other people think about you keep you silent for such a time as this. Listen, I know some people don't like using that verse out of context because it was written for Esther in the Bible. But there's a uniqueness to that all of us were made individually, not a copy of other people, not to be like somebody else, but for our unique assignment. And it starts with being faithful right where we're at right now, with the platform that we have right now, with the people that are around us right now. And when we stay faithful with the little things, we get upgraded and moved into those other areas. It's not out of performance, by the way. It's not performing good enough to go into those areas. It's actually a ceasing of performance. It's actually ending performance and flowing in what you were made for, from joy, from peace, from love, from patience. And every single area in your life will flow from this place. And so right there, my friends, I'm going to stop this video right here. I hope this inspires you just a little bit to step out, to do something, to speak up, to put your voice out there, and to not be afraid of what they think about you. People are always going to think things. They're not always going to agree with you. You are not the person for everybody. You might see people out there that have big platforms and you're like, well, they are the person for practically everybody, and we're trying to copy what they're doing. They got there by staying faithful with the platform that's right in front of them. And that's how you find your voice, is staying consistent, speaking up and speaking out, and not being afraid to stay faithful with what's in front of you. This starts with gratitude. This starts with being grateful. This starts with saying, God, thank you that I'm not going to be crushed by the calling that I have right now, that I don't have to step into this big level, because honestly, most of us aren't ready for it yet. I know I'm not ready right now today for that next level, but I'm growing by staying faithful and consistent every single day with the plan, with the purpose that God has in my life. And I know right now in this present moment, I'm doing the exact thing that I was supposed to do, which is talking with you guys right here on this video. And so go and do likewise. We'll talk soon, everybody. Grow your life.